This is part two of the video. I got interrupted. So Soros has sort of hijacked the capitalism and the NGO process. Free markets are good, but he's taken that and he's a market manipulator, for lack of a better word. So when you control the political system, you have a guaranteed outcome. So this thing about like he broke the Bank of England, there was this trade where he made billions of dollars in one day, which was a lot of money in the 1990s. I mean, it still is, but this was a huge trade. So if you know ahead of time what the Fed is going to do, anybody can make money on that. And there's no insider trading in FX markets, so it wasn't illegal. And you could argue that there was no victim on it. So I'm not even saying it was unethical, but it's a cheap trick. And using cheap tricks is not building a it doesn't actually create any value. So the whole point is what he's doing is he's sucking value. He's not creating value. Venture capital creates value. They create jobs, they create entire industries. They those companies hire people, people have jobs, and then people can have families. So something is created, some value. They're solving problems. Venture capital is solving problems. He's the opposite. He's creating problems, actually, and then presenting artificial solutions to artificial problems and trading based on known outcomes. So if you know, for example, if I know that a terrorist is going to put a bomb on a subway tomorrow, I can sell the British pound, and I know it's going to go down. So you're not taking any risk. You're creating a situation, and so capitalism is all about risk taking. So he's kind of hijacked the system in a way. So that's toxic. And then after he did this several times, he has many copycats. So he sort of invented this trade, but he has so many copycats that it's become a whole sector of the market which is just toxic. So war does not create value. That's a myth. They say like $1 in to the US military industrial complex creates $2 in economic value. It's actually the opposite. $1 in destroys $2 in value. But this is the nonsense that the warmongers and the war profiteers are going to try to sell to you. I'm not saying people shouldn't make money. There are lots of ways to make money. There are, as they say in Wall Street, 1,000 ways to skin a cat. And they say that in the car business too, because there are so many different strategies. Like, let me just contrast this for a moment with James Simons created this hedge fund, and it's all quantitative. It's all based on mathematics. James Simons worked for the NSA as a mathematician, and he was a code breaker. And he developed trading strategies that, I mean, you can say that arbitrage and different trading strategies are not creating economic value like venture capital is. That's true. But they're also not hurting anyone. It's not like going into the war business. So hedge funds are, I mean, one thing they're doing, they're creating liquidity in the market. And those people who have invested in hedge funds are having profits, and they're spending those profits, and whatever they're spending their money on, that consumption is good for the economy. It's not as good as sort of starting a business, but it's good to the point that, I mean, it's a lot better than war. I mean, even if these billionaires are wasting their money on stupid things, it's generated in kind of a fair way. Having a hedge fund or an algorithmic trading strategy is completely different than creating a color revolution, killing millions of people, and then selling bombs to both sides. I mean, these are two just completely different worlds. The hedge funds is more of it's a value argument, but both sides are ethical. Hedge funds aren't doing anything wrong. You can't say that hedge funds are not destroying value. The war economy and the Soros model of manipulating the political system in order to profit is destroying value. So there's a huge discrepancy between these things. So I think the capitalism of the future, if we're going to have an intelligentism or an intelligent managed system by AI on the blockchain, QFS, whatever it looks like, it's got to be something that promotes the creation of value and punishes the destruction of value, because these two things are going to create a sustainable economy. And when I say sustainable, I'm talking about mathematic sustainability, not sustainable for the environment. But environmental sustainability is a subset of mathematical sustainability. That means you have a machine that's making money. Venture capital is sustainable because you always have new businesses that are solving new problems. So every generation of VC companies is going to be solving a new set of challenges. And so that business model is sustainable for the future. When you have something that destroys value, that sucks value, that is not sustainable because you always need a new victim. What if you run out of victims? That's what happened to the military. After World War II, there were no enemies, so they created them. So that is a toxic, unsustainable business model. So that's what we should be thinking about in terms of investing and how to create sustainable in a positive way. Meaning, like if you look at the chart of Bitcoin compared to Microsoft or any IPO over 20 years that was a success, they're almost identical. So if you invested in Bitcoin versus any of these like Google IPO or something like that, Facebook, maybe not Facebook, but most of the IPOs, Costco for sure, stock, it looks the same. But the difference is Bitcoin doesn't create any value, whereas these companies did. Microsoft created a personal computer revolution. Costco is like one of the greatest merchants in the world. You can get things at Costco. I mean, I just bought some olives, like 6 cans of olives, gourmet olives for $12. I mean, it's just the Costco is an amazing company. So shareholders make money, Costco makes money. That's kind of the way capitalism should be. Bitcoin is not. Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme that sucks value because the only reason that the Bitcoin price goes up, people are selling US dollars and buying Bitcoin. On top of that, Bitcoin is sucking electricity for mining, creating no economic value. It's not creating a mechanism for trade. It's creating the hope, the hopium that you're going to put in $1 and get 1,000. But so does a Ponzi scheme. So I don't see the value argument for Bitcoin. But for businesses, I do, sure. So that's so much about the Soros trade. Soros, the Soros trade model is not sustainable, and it's not something that we should include in a strategy for the future with intelligentism, or as the system becomes a more intelligent expert system.